and Major General Lou Mackenzie. As I always say, Major General doesn't need any introduction. I think everyone knows what a great hero you've been for our country, and thank you both for your service. It's great to be back here in beautiful Ottawa with my all-star Minister of Heritage, Sport, Tourism, and Culture and Industries, Lisa MacLeod. I can tell you, my friends, I always say it, one of the hardest working members down at Queen's Park, bar none. What are you up to, about 15 ministries that you're taking care of now? Wearing many hats, and Lisa's doing an incredible job. This year, we mark the 75th anniversary of the end of Second World War. And with November the 11th just around the corner, this is a time to remember those who fought to preserve peace and freedom. Recognize those who continue to defend it, and honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. Here in Canada, we have a few traditions when it comes to November 11th. In the week of November 11th, we wear a poppy, and we wear a poppy being very proud of wearing that. And after hearing what I heard this morning from Whole Foods, the policy that they introduced, that they won't allow any employee to wear a poppy, I find it absolutely disgraceful. I find it disgusting. So we're going to introduce legislation immediately that permits any employee, no matter where you work, and to wear a poppy, and making sure that no employer can force someone not to wear a poppy. We also observe a moment of silence. We remember our grandparents, a relative who did their part. And today we find yet another way to support our veterans through the power of support and friendly competition among peers. I'm proud to announce the first ever Valor Games, which will be held right here in Ottawa. And I thank everyone that's involved. And I know, again, Minister, you're the #1 cheerleader. You make things happen. The Games will attract veterans and active service members of all abilities from across Canada to compete as athletes. Our government is investing $3 million to help make these games a reality. We're giving back to those who gave so much to secure the future of this country and this province. Minister MacLeod will share more details in just a moment, but I do want to take this opportunity to thank every single veteran, member of the military, reservist, and cadet for their outstanding service. I want to thank the Canadian Armed Forces who came to our aid when the first wave of COVID-19 hit us here in Ontario. And who did we call for support in our long-term care? But the best armed forces in the entire world, our Canadian Armed Forces, went in there, and I described it as the cavalry coming over the top of the hill to come to our rescue, and we'll never forget that, and we'll always be grateful. We owe all of you and your families a debt of gratitude. And I have no doubt the Valor Games will be a huge success, and I can't wait to be here to open the games with you and the other folks, Minister. I just want to say thank you. God bless our veterans, and God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'll hand it over to Minister MacLeod.
Thank you very much, Premier, and I think I speak on behalf of all Ontarians in saying how proud we are that you took the stand today in supporting our men and women in uniform and those who have served and gone before us by taking on Whole Foods right here in Ottawa. Obviously, we wear our poppy with pride. We mark our moment of silence on Remembrance Week, and this particular announcement today, this $3 million announcement for the Valor Games, the spawn of the Invictus Games is incredibly important and very positive. It's wonderful to be here with my good friend, Lou Mackenzie. We've been friends for many years, and he has guided me and on many occasions, and I'm delighted that he's here today, and I'm delighted that we recently appointed him to the Honours and Awards Secretariat in the Ministry. I'm also here with Mike Trana, who has served our country both in Bosnia as well as in Afghanistan, and he has been a competitor in Invictus Games, and he is an elite athlete in para-canoe. And I was delighted to find out that our ministry, through our Quest for Gold, supports his endeavors. Today is obviously very important for us in the nation's capital, but also through heritage sport, tourism, and culture industries. As we mark the Valor Games and we mark Remembrance Week, we think about the difficulties many generations have had over the years. And of course, as we move through a pandemic here in Ontario, this has been one of the greatest challenges all of us have ever seen. And the ministries of heritage, sport, tourism, and culture industries have been hit hard. They have been hit swiftly and will likely take the longest to recover. So today's announcement, the first after the provincial budget yesterday, is very significant to both the City of Ottawa, to our Canadian forces, and again, to our entire suite of sectors. So I'm proud to be here today to announce our government's support for the Valor Games, a new multi-sport competition for wounded, ill, and injured Canadian military personnel and veterans. Our brave service members and veterans face a number of challenges when they return from deployment or transition to civilian life. And through sport and through that camaraderie together in competition, we know that this is going to be a very successful part of their journey. And we believe that their individual journeys to recover and rehabilitation can greatly be enhanced through the transformative power of sport. That's why we're providing $3 million in funding for the inaugural Valor Games to be held right here in our nation's capital, every Canadian's second hometown. Taking place over 1 week, the Games will welcome 500 competitors from across Canada to compete in more than 10 adaptive sports. You know, our men and women liberated other nations. They fought tyranny in lands far away. And more recently in Afghanistan, they protected us from the scourge of terrorism. And we are proud of them, and Ontario is proud to support our wounded veterans and showcase their athletic accomplishments through this exciting multi-sport competition. Lest we forget. I'll now pass it over to Lou Mackenzie.
Premier, Minister, je m'excuse, je ne parle pas français bien, which is a bit ironic that I don't speak French well, because in Sarajevo, 2/3 of the soldiers that made me look good were from the Vendu, French-Canadian soldiers, and the other third from the RCR, who struggled like I did to understand some of what was going on. Nevertheless, it's a real pleasure to be here representing Michael Burns. Michael Burns, you probably recall the name, was the conceiver and the CEO of the Invictus Games. He got his idea for Canadian participation back in 2014 when Prince Harry's first Invictus Games took place in the United Kingdom and subsequently went to the United States, and then to Canada in Toronto in 2017, which was the biggest, most successful, comprehensive Invictus Games. Now, the fact is that it was so successful that any number of people in Canada, wounded, ill, veterans, servicemen and women, wanted to participate the next time around. But there's just not space. You can only take so many people to Australia, to Europe, whatever, as part of the team, families. And so it was thought that we would follow along the line of what happens to the Warrior Games in the United States and create our own national Canada Valor Games. And they would happen every second year. That way we can take a large number of people who wanted to participate and get them into the games here in Canada rather than just limiting ourselves to the international games, wherever they might be. I think it's fair to say, and I would hope that Mike would agree with me, that it's very important for the participation of these injured, ill, whatever soldiers, servicemen and women, but that's not the most important contribution. The most important contribution to the country is the fact that people are not coming forward to participate in athletic activities, test their body, test their minds, etc., that are sitting there at home. I'm saying that not in a pejorative sense, but not getting out and about to actually see the games, see how successful they are, see the leadership that's provided by people like Mike, and they come forward to participate. And they wouldn't have done otherwise. And so it's very important for Canada's morale and the morale of everybody here in this wonderful province of Ontario to get that message and join up. And those 500 athletes every year, every 2 years, it just doesn't happen at the event. It's all of the effort leading up to the event that is so good for them and so good for the morale of the rest of us. Now, let me be honest. This couldn't have been easy. We have serious problems and challenges in Ontario. And most of them are related not just to the virus, but to finances. And to see this commitment of $3 million as a kickstart fund for the Valor Games is absolutely outstanding. I won't say it's a surprise, but it was to me because I didn't have any background information on it. I think it's just absolutely marvelous. And I hope somewhere there's a hill not far from here, and maybe that hill is paying attention, and we look forward to continuing support from other levels of government. So bless you both, the Premier, the Minister. Thank you so very much. And now for a true Canadian hero, Mike Joyner.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me here today. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a personal story through the power of sport, what actually led me to here today. On December 5th, 2008, I was wounded in Afghanistan. An IE went off, it took both my legs, destroyed both my arms and hands, left me with scarring, burns head to toe. And it took the one most important thing that every single soldier relies on, purpose. At that point, I already knew my career was going to be finished. I was going to be having to retire from the military. I was very stressed about these things and mentally not in the right place. I was in a very dark space. I had no idea about the power of sport, what it can actually do, how well it can heal our veterans and other people as well. So there I was in the hospital, trapped in a hospital bed. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything without anybody's assistance. It was terrible. Until I got a phone call from the Invictus Games, Mr. Michael Burns, and he said, I want you to come out to the Invictus Games in Toronto. Meet the team. I'll introduce you to special people from other nations as well. So I went, and I was challenged to represent my country again, which made me feel so proud to don the maple leaf again. You know, I'd served for almost 19 years with 3rd Battalion Royal Canadian Regiment out of CFB Petawawa. And every single day I got up, I was proud to wear that uniform, proud to represent the people of Canada and all the ethics and standards that comes with being a soldier. When that was taken away from me, it destroyed me, as it does many soldiers. But when I was given that opportunity to compete at the Invictus Games, I was re-energized, revigorated again. I felt like a brand new soldier again. So I trained as hard as I could for 1 year, just 1 year. And my goal was just to make Canadians proud and happy of me. That's all I wanted. So I went there, and lo and behold, out of 18 other nations, I got double gold medals for Canada. And I was so proud. I looked across the room, and all in front of me was all of you, Canadians. They had all the flags flying. Everybody was in tears. It was the greatest moment of my life. And that was the power of sport that got me off my couch. It's the power of sport that put purpose back into my life, which I needed. These games, the Valor Games, are going to give purpose back to soldiers that have lost their way. Whether they need mental assistance or help with physical challenges that they face every single day, the power of sport shows them what's possible. Just because you have a disability, it doesn't mean you can't try. And that's all I ask of my fellow veterans, is to come out and try. Where has it led me? After the Invictus Games, they told me to go try out for the Paralympic and Olympic tryouts in Toronto. I got picked up by Canoe Kayak Canada, and now I'm on the national team. I actually leave for British Columbia tomorrow for training as I make my way towards Tokyo 2021 to hopefully bring back some more medals for Canada. So standing up here as a wounded veteran, the message is, if you can dream it, you can do it. I was one of the top injured guys for my injuries from an IED, and I was able to accomplish what many thought that I could never do. For years and years, I heard I can't do, and I just got tired of what I can't do and turned that into a positive of what I can do. And now, I'm very proud to say I could put on the uniform again. I can hold my head up high, and it's all because of games like the Invictus Games, and now soon to be the Valor Games as well. And I will be there to assist any athlete that I can, whether through mentoring or coaching. And I'll also be there to compete, just because I want to keep everybody on their toes. Happy gaming, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike. That was so inspiring. We are so proud of you. Don't ever for a moment think that your country isn't there for you. We definitely always will be. As the wife, a daughter, granddaughter, and great-granddaughter of men who have served our country, Premier, this announcement means a great deal to me. And it is also the perfect intersection of heritage sport, tourism, and culture as we fight to get out of COVID-19 and restore these sectors. So for members of the media, the Premier and I will be available later today for comments on this after the press conference at 1 o'clock. So we look forward to seeing you all then. And I'd just like to see if we can arrange for a photo op and maybe another way we might be able to support our local legions. Thank you. All right. Now, do we all have masks? Do you have can you guys put your Legion masks on? Sure. Do you have the Premier's Legion mask?
Can't get it around my ears.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure, okay.
I got too big of a head.
And we've got to just, okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah, mine is, do you want these? Okay. I did this one myself one time where okay. I'm hoping I might be able to.
My noggin's too.
Between the country that we're in and the country that we have to go to, we're in some of the worst hit spots in the world.
They've been leaving out of the Air Force Base, Group 8, but today we're leaving out of Jorge Chavez, which is the international airport.
This lady is spraying down each bag before they come into the airport. This is what an empty airport looks like.
It's really happening. We're leaving Peru.
Almost every seat is taken in this thing. Like, look back here.
We're Alex and Lindsay, two travelers who are exploring South America, when suddenly, strict lockdown began, leaving us stuck abroad. We've been here for months, and even though lockdown is lifted, things in Peru are far from normal. We're documenting the whole thing and sharing it with you.
to Mexico City, and then to finally go home. Somehow we managed to get all of our stuff in 2 bags, a carry-on, a checked bag, and a personal item.
And 2 hats.
Oh, and 2 hats. Can't forget 2 hats.
Let's go. So usually I'm a backpacker, or we're both backpackers with only backpacks, but we were in Cusco so long and we had to get so many gifts and souvenirs for people that we got a couple of these as well. And Peruvian sweaters. Of course, we had to get like 20 of those.
Yeah, when lockdown hits and you're somewhere for 6 months, you end up accumulating items. The 2 hats aren't coming off.
So, we're leaving. Can't believe it.
Porque sé que el ingreso es por el grupo 8.
We literally started feeling like we were never gonna leave Peru after 6 months, so this feels surreal right now. I can't believe we're actually leaving.
So if you didn't watch our other video explaining, we've been in Peru for about 6 months, stuck here since the lockdown. And luckily, last minute, about a week or 2 ago, we found a kind of like a repatriation flight to Mexico for Mexicans, and we're able to get on that, and it's a lot cheaper. So we thought we better take this. We better take this now because the country is going on to strict lockdown again, and they don't know if they're gonna open their borders for another year or half a year.
And Peru is the 2nd highest in deaths in the world for COVID. Despite their strict lockdown measures, things still aren't good here, so we feel like it's time to go home. And we know things aren't great in the US. I'm sure it's gonna look a lot different than when we left it.
Yeah, not much better in the US. Between the country that we're in and the country that we have to go to, we're in some of the worst hit spots in the world, but we don't have much of a choice at this point.
So we'll see what this process is like. They're having us arrive about 4 hours early to the airport, which is double the time that we would normally arrive. So we have a feeling it's going to be a lot of paperwork and standing in lines.
Great, this is gonna be a fun day.
Good thing I brought chocolate cake.
We're gonna try to show you the whole process or everything that we're able to show you. We don't know if they'll allow cameras or what, but we'll try.